great position with that extra time that he will have. He's going to try and set up probably on the edge of this mountain. Needs to get a nice high position to go for some Storm Surge tags as well if he hasn't been fighting anyone already. As Booger holding him down, someone who's also been dropping Misty Meadows with him, hitting the rotate a little bit earlier. And we're talking about interactions. We're talking about those who's who of names here. And Booger and Stretch going head to head is going to be one of them. Two players who have a lot of pressure on them to perform in their own right, but also to outperform each other. They were duo mates and they both performed insanely well, but there's always those whispers of who carried who's better. We saw Booger and Stretch going head to head in one of the qualifying weeks where Stretch ended up just coming out on top in the final game, winning it over Booger. But this is a rivalry that I'm super excited to see play out.
That's right. And I mean, it's been about 4 months or so since they've entered as a duo into competition.
Yeah.
But the stigma carries with them as they do still play trios and other team-based game modes. So we'll be interested to see the clash between those two titans. I mean, we saw Janus and Tayson fight one another over in the Steamy Stacks in EU today. And that was probably the biggest clash of Tayson's career because he took that to the Axe of Champions all the way down the line. And P-God, oh my gosh, with the big follow-up onto Vibes. And that's going to be huge for him. His second elimination right now. 93 players left in the game.
Second elimination when there's 93 players left. So P-God has taken down 2 of the 7 players that have fallen in this lobby. So you can't overstate how big that is. If you're more of a casual Fortnite fan, you're tuning in, this might seem a little bit ridiculous. The 2 eliminations is huge at this point. But as you can see in the top left, there's only 7 people that have gone down. These players are the best of the best, and they're avoiding fights. They're playing safe, trying to get into that top area for those placement points. And P-God just feeling comfortable. He's feeling confident, running around as we see Prickly Boy was a fan favorite of yesterday, rocking the cactus skin. I feel like the casters definitely instantly resonated with this player and wanted to cheer him on as well. As Prickly Boy trying to find his way out of this one if he can. He was throwing that big pot ahead of him, but this player was waiting for it. Kind of choreographed exactly where he was going to go into this push. So Prickly Boy trying to close it out. Players on top of him. Nice builds, but he drops inside the box. 2 tag shots is not enough. And Justice takes him down. Don't think Justice even needed the shotgun there. And look at that loadout. Justice is looking great.
That's right. Justice read the law and laid it down just like that, showing that he was going to be the one to action the scene right now. And that was well played. He just walks through pure confidence through Prickly Boy, who couldn't seem to find the defense, seem to find the shots that he needed. Here's Sentinel's Aspect on the other side. One of the veterans of the Fortnite community scene for the NA East. Been a part of the earliest days of Fortnite competition. Now, back on his stride, back on the high horse here as a solo competitor. It almost seems like he came out of nowhere in the recent times, just coming back, showing players that, hey, this vet here still has what it takes to compete on the grand.
Being important is 1 point. I need to know who gets that mythic loot because that is going to change the game massively. If you're not dropping caddy corners, but you end up with the caddy corner loot, like we saw with Calc yesterday. Calc dropped, I think it was an 8 elimination win or close to it because he got his hands on that caddy loot because he found it in the mid to end game. So whoever has now found that, as I say, Calc goes down to Calazo. So players dropping now as Storm Surge, I believe, is going active and we have 12 people to fall. But if we can get a sight on who exactly has that Shockwave launcher, it could play massively into this end game if it's a big name who's been performing and not used to having the added advantage of 2 mythic items.
Take a look at this, though. It's P-God back in another skirmish here. I see 4 different players, 4 individuals stacked up on top of one another off of this rotate here from west to east, trying to get to the safety of the new zone. P-God yesterday did this as well. He was playing off of these non-dead side rotates. I mean, he's just walking directly to the zone and taking battles along the way. We saw that halfway through the competition. It worked against them. We'll see, though, but no, not this time. It doesn't matter. P-God's going to react with the quickness there onto Uzi. Uzi is an up-and-comer as of late. He has been on fire, but P-God shuts that out. He puts the fire out.
Shuts it out quick. That was such a good quick flick with the charged shotgun too. That's a hard shot. If you just watched and you missed what happened there, the other player crash padded straight into the back of the box. P-God didn't see the player coming through because the builds were breaking, and then just split second reaction flicks with the beautiful charged shotgun shot. And P-God's now got 3 eliminations on the board coming into endgame with the peppers as well. So he's got that extra mobility to maybe make that next rotate. And you touched on it just then, Monster. He doesn't really exactly go for the safe rotates. He'll go up against players and back himself in fights just like that. And now he's getting his Storm Surge tags. He's getting his damage on the board as we still have Storm Surge active right now. There is still 1 player getting hit by Storm Surge in this lobby as 71 players are still alive.
I just want to say that is probably the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen a ridiculous shot like that come out of P-God. But here's Skittles finding himself a nice little ridiculous elim onto Avery, who was so lit up on the run from an opponent. And although Skittles may not be able to grab the rewards of Avery's loot there, it's going to be Rubified who's going to scoop that up. It's okay. He's got a nice free point to work with here. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, 75 players being, or less than 75 players in the lobby now is going to reward the first points, 10 around on average, to be the FNCS champion of the region.
That is such a tall ask. 8 to 10 points every game for 6 games when you're battling now with 99 of the other best players in your region. Just showing these players are a whole nother level. The unfortunate misplay there of going up against that wall that Justice does own, and he just has to hit that window edit and go straight through. Justice now knowing there's another player behind his other wall. So Justice in a really congested spot, as you're seeing in the bottom right of that mini map, about 6 or 7 players all on top of each other, and Bucky being one of them. So pretty scary spot to be in.
Bucky, one of the scariest players, one of the hottest profiles across all game modes. Doesn't matter where you place him, team-based, squad-based, solo-based, he performs, he shows up. Smack, though, is going to be lighting up the feed right now, find himself his own point. Here's D-Roller. D-Roller, one of those few key individuals that once he gets going, he can definitely start to play off of that momentum. We know him to be a fragger. I want to say during the FNCS Invitationals, he was breaking records on his streak on up to those grand finals as well. So this is a player that lately has been somewhat dormant, but it shows that, hey, when he turns on big, and he doesn't look back. Right now, though, Ozzy, what I'm paying attention to is this zone and how many players are starting to migrate nice and early. This is only becoming more and more stacked. So we bring our focus down to that mini-map. Just look at how many players have to cross in.
Yeah, and I was just going to say with D-Roller as well, it's just showing that he can kind of like, he can change the game style as well, though. Obviously, last in their solo invitational, there was a lot of high eliminations being dropped. At this point, we're seeing much more placement split. It's showing his diversity to be able to play to that and play to the placement points, and understanding that most of the players are usually kind of winning this one out with a higher average placement than elimination points overall. We saw some of the regions like Asia have a lot lower point split with a 3-way tie for 47, but then you're looking like regions like my hometown region, OCE, with 70 plus points for first. It's just, you don't know. You need to play to your region. You need to play to your scoring format. You need to play to what is going to give you consistency.
Yeah, it's been very volatile across all the regions. Someone who's on fire, though, it's P-God. My gosh, 3 eliminations already.